Welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show. You're about to walk through a portal that leads to all things mystical, magical, spiritual, and supernatural. I'm your host, Emily. I'm a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Records practitioner and teacher, an intuition development coach, and a galactic channeler. If you're an old soul on a self-discovery and healing journey, you are in the right place. We'll be diving in deep to some of my favorite mystical topics, including manifestation, past lives, the spirit world, energy, and so much more. Get ready to embrace your inner mystic and live your most authentic life possible. The portal is now open. And the portal has opened today to another inspiring conversation with a mystical guest. I am so excited to introduce you to my dear friend, Julie. Julie is an energy revitalist coach and a medicine woman who helps clients restore their energy from challenging life experiences or relationships through intuitive energy healing techniques, shamanic soul retrievals and shamanic extractions, entity and vampiric energy release, chakra yoga for healing, astrology guidance, and herbal allies so that they can expand their consciousness and feel empowered, free, and come back to be the best version of themselves. She is also the creatrix of Revitalize Your Soul Apothecary, which can be found on Etsy, and her website, as well as local South Jersey craft fairs and healing arts expos. So welcome, Julie, to the show.
Oh, thank you, Emily, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I mean, you are just a creatrix of so many cool modalities. So I can't wait to hear about all of them today. I'm sure the audience is going to be very intrigued to learn about your shamanic healing and your entity and vampire release as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to share. It just all keeps building upon each other on my own healing journey.
Absolutely. So to start us off, I would love for you to share your astrology sun, moon, and rising, as well as your human design type.
Okay, my sun sign is Leo, and my rising and moon sign they're both in Scorpio. And the human design is generator. So I have a lot of fire in my chart, and that Scorpio placements are my only water. So they're just filled with so much passion as well, because Scorpio is a very passionate sign.
Yes. And I just have to say, Julie is one of the deepest healers that I have ever worked with. She really has such a beautiful ability to take her clients really deep. So I'm so excited to explore that with you today.
Yeah.
And I would also love to know what is bringing you joy in your life right now.
So what is bringing me joy? My dogs and puppies always bring me joy. They're just entertaining day by day. But recently, my husband and I we started a game night. So once a week, we'll be playing Scrabble or gin cards. So the Scrabble has brought a lot of interesting laughter and new words. Just a lot of fun that, healthy relationship building, fun stuff to do together.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Actually, my parents just gave me a new Scrabble board for my birthday about a month ago, and I haven't used it yet. So that's such a sign for me. I love that.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love that too.
Mm-hmm. So I would love to know if you could share a little bit with the audience of what your focus looks like in terms of your business and your practices. And then we're going to get into your story a little bit and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, yeah, my business is always expanding. So it started out really with yoga and my whole yoga journey. And it's just evolved into the energy healing. So I've learned IET, integrated energy therapy. Then I had to see what the difference was between that and Reiki. So I studied that and started studying this different energy healing techniques and modalities like the violet flame. And now recently, I am starting to learn more about attachments because they started to come up in my healings. Like I would see stuff I would need to like clear, like dark smoke or sludge or maggots, eels, like things that weren't there for the person's highest good. So I'm taking a journey to learn new techniques and just go deeper into that realm of releasing entity attachments and vampiric attachments. And then we have the herbs, which just so supportive for not just our physical body, but also mentally and spiritually. Like I have the lucid dreams tea, which is such a great tea if you are feeling blocked with dream recall. There's beautiful herbs in there that help support opening the third eye. So it's just a lot of fun to continue to build that as well. And I have some new products that are going to be birthed this year.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait to talk about all of that more because I feel like that's such a unique thing and I want to learn more about where that came from. So, I would love to know what were some of the major moments in your life or things that happened that led you to be on a spiritual journey?
Yeah, the major one was my celiac diagnosis back in my late 20s. I believe I was 27. And so right around my Saturn return is when everything started to like, woo, turn up the volume. Um, I I was diagnosed with celiac because I was having I always had digestive issues when I was a younger, sometimes called the stinky girl because my gas would stink. But besides that, the the older I got, other symptoms started to come up. Like I was numb and tingly all over my body and even in my abdominal area, which is just rare. And one day I just ate Progresso tomato soup, which had tomatoes, wheat, and basil. And then I was like, took it to the doctor. I was like, this went right through me
Mm,
and got tested for that. So that really started my journey with physical healing and the herbs. So, seeing a naturopath, I learned about different herbs to help me heal and also cleanse and detox my system. Yeah. And then shortly after that, I got divorced, which was a big awakening. Um, just felt we were not aligned anymore, and it was time to move on and move forward from that relationship. It was an incredibly challenging moment of my life, but made it through. And then after that, I moved, started a new, not a new career, but job. And in between that is when I had my yoga training. So I started getting into yoga and deeper into teaching it and its teachings and meditation. So that all sparked my spiritual journey and it all took off from there.
love that so much. And I feel like being diagnosed with a serious illness, serious condition can really be something that kind of forces you to be on a different path and to start seeing yourself differently, seeing your body differently, and really can create massive change in your consciousness. So
Yeah.
how did you start working with herbs to start treating celiac, and how did that lead to where you are today with helping support your clients in their own physical journey?
Yeah. So the allies that I worked with initially were chamomile for like relaxation, but it's also great for the gut. and dandelion for detoxing and cleansing because I was diagnosed with a parasite and just overloaded with bacteria from an unhealthy gut. So the dandelion was like, I dug into that so much. It's like the best ally ever. And then I also found marshmallow root around that same time. And the marshmallow root is also great for the gut and building up the lining of the intestines. So those were like the first three that really come to mind that I worked closely with. Green tea as well, though it's just a tea leaf, but that is high in antioxidants and that can help fight all the free radicals that are going around in your body. So I drank a lot of green tea as well.
And when it comes to, so let's say there's someone in the audience right now who is navigating challenging health symptoms, where would you suggest that they get started when it comes to taking a more natural approach?
Oh, that's a great question. I Once I was diagnosed, I went through the Western medicine process, like got the blood tests,
Mm.
um, got the uh, endoscopy for going to a gastroenterologist. Um, then I was going back to the doctor because I wasn't healing. I was still having like the digestive issues because of the parasite. But that's when she just wanted to put me on anxiety meds. And I was like, no, there's something wrong with me. And I just intuitively knew I needed more support. And I found a natural path. And working closely with her was like the greatest gift that I've ever found. And I learned so much from her about foods that can support us. Because I had low stomach acid, which is when you're like, it can mimic high stomach acid, really, because you can have the burning up the esophagus and everything, and it just feels like your food is just sitting in your stomach and not moving. But like kale, for example, is a great stomach acid builder. And there's herbs that help support me in that, like the betaine HCl, um, also help to build my stomach acid. But always working with someone who has knowledge of that stuff. So a naturopath was the best thing that I found for myself. And then I did like a detox with a separate holistic nutritionist to help clear the clear the parasites, and also like gluten when you have celiac is like an opioid, and you have Herxheimer reactions. Like I was having the headaches and just fatigue, like it was detoxing from me. So she helped me like manage the symptoms of detoxification from the gluten.
Because you were having a withdrawal
Yeah.
effect. Wow.
Yeah, like a withdrawal effect.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like detox is such a hot word out there, and I know you know a lot about it. So for anyone who's considering doing a detox or embarking on that journey, I've been on multiple detox journeys myself. What do you recommend that people look into, or things that can support them on that journey?
Yeah. Yeah, so my favorite thing to share is always the castor oil pack. So castor bean, they take it and make it into an oil. And I use like seriously like a dime sized dollop on my rag, or wool cloth, to be more specific. And I put that over my liver and heating pad over it. And what it does is it just helps like cleanse the liver, the gallbladder, your digestive system, and not only just the liver, but you can put it anywhere really that you have pain in your body. So I've used it on my hips. I've used it when I had bad cramps or like painful ovulation, um, and for injuries. So that is the best, because with the injuries, it helps with the inflammation and get that out of there. So that is the best thing that I personally really still enjoy to this day. And the other thing that I've used was activated charcoal because it's a binder. So when you take the little pill, it binds to toxins inside of your body, and then you dispose of them through your stool.
Mhm.
So
It's amazing for stomach issues. Yes, can definitely attest that it can really help with that. And for castor oil specifically, where do you recommend that people find that? Is that something you can buy on Amazon, or should they find that from a local supplier?
yeah, I purchased it from Amazon. I think it's like Heritage Store, and they have a pack. I've also I also like to stress to use organic. I think that's just best because it comes cleaner. So I've used mountain rose herbs for some castor oil before, and the Heritage Store, and there's the Queen of Thrones out there, which I have not used yet, but I hear a lot of good things about the Queen of Thrones, and they have like a whole package that you can purchase.
And is this a practice that's great for anyone, or would you say it's more specific to people who are navigating health issues?
Yeah, I think anyone that goes through, painful experiences, like I said, you can use it anywhere. It's great for health issues or allergies, even to help get those free radicals out. Um, and the only people that need to use caution are if you're pregnant, because the castor oil can expedite pregnancy, really, in labor. So the old wives have used castor oil in the past for when they want to induce somebody to go into labor. So definitely, if you're pregnant, I would stay away from it. And there's also, if you don't have a gallbladder, because the gallbladder digests fats, like I've heard, maybe people may have issues with it if you don't have that organ. Um, and that's what, I could really think of. And then if you're menstruating, it can make your cycle heavier. So I take off from it if I'm going through my moon cycle.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And do you help your clients with herbal practices? Is that something that if someone from the audience is looking for support with that, is that something that you can help them with?
Yeah, to find the herbs. So though I'm not like a certified clinician, like I've done my um I've done my herbal certification as an apprenticeship, so not like a college type of thing. So while I don't have that herbalist like that a college would certify you with, I do have people who are interested and ask, like, how can I be supported in a more holistic way? So I do share my knowledge of herbs in that way. And yeah, just like always, the disclaimer to listen to your own body and how it reacts to the herb. Because while I can give ideas of herbs that could help support them at the time, I always encourage them to, like, it's your body, and you always want to intuitively listen when you try something new as well.
And that leads perfectly into what I feel like we need to talk about next, which is that so often our physical challenges are energetic in nature and are rooted in something emotional or energetic. So when you are working with your clients, how do you identify or become aware that maybe something they're navigating is more energetic in nature, or maybe you've been through something like that in your own life and have come to the conclusion, oh my gosh, this is from some sort of past trauma or some sort of energetic issue.
Oh yeah, that's it's really interesting because it kind of came up today in conversation with someone who had like a fear, just like a deep rooted fear. Actually, it was my husband, so I don't think he'll mind me sharing this, but like a deep rooted fear of losing me, like just like really deep. And so I went into that conversation of past lives and how energetically our soul could be carrying this past life trauma of maybe you lost me and um, we don't know. Your soul wants to find out why. But right here in this plane, it's like it doesn't make sense because we have a really healthy relationship, you know? So, um, yeah, just like that deep root of fear can be energetically something that is off, um, on that kind of terms.
Hmm. And I know so for the audience to know, Julie is a wonderful past client of mine as well. And I remember one thing that we navigated together was a physical issue with your hip that we discovered energetically. There was some past life stuff going on there. There was some emotional stuff going on there. And kind of getting to the root of what was happening really helped you shift.
Yeah, that was a really good one. That was the miracle that kind of like, kind of brought me out of a valley, if I would describe like a down moment. But my hip it was just having this pain. And it was pretty consistent up until that day that we had the embodiment journey. And what it turned out to be was sexual trauma was being stored there, where I was taking on full responsibility for it. Um, Even though I have said and used the word no, I still felt I welcomed it in and I was fully responsible for that. But the other person could understand that no is a complete sentence. So that was a miracle. It took that one healing, like I felt great for like months and months and months and months. And it sneaks in here and there. So it has been sneaking back in, but now I know like what's coming up to be healed. And that kind of gets us into the entities too,
Yes.
because because you and I together did our my first round of releasing the wraith, which was attached to there. And then later on, I found that it was also still embedded in me in my womb space because of a past life where um, I was like trafficked, like sex trafficking. And I found myself in this tunnel with a whole bunch of other women in this past life. And this big giant wraith was connected to all of us. So I healed through it that way even deeper. And it turns out like I feel like with the hip, we got rid of it like outside of me. And then with that deeper past life, I got rid of it even more that was embedded in me. So it was a very interesting journey with that. And I, I recently just went through that past life. So, it's popping in my mind that I had a painful ovulation period after that. So, when I was ovulating, it felt like something like was attached by like jaws inside my ovaries and like it fell off. And I could just feel the release of that ovulation cycle in the right side. And then later, when my cycle came, no symptoms. Like I had no symptoms at all that it was coming or nearing. I was 2 days early and I was like, well, this is great. Like I have no premenstrual symptoms. So it really released a lot of those symptoms that a lot of women have commonly when they approach their moon cycle.
Oh my gosh, that's unreal. And really speaks to how if we have attachments, they can not only bother us emotionally, energetically, but really they can provide physical challenges and symptoms as well.
Right.
So, what led you to your entity clearing journey? And what does that look like now for you? Share the full story. We want to know.
Wow. Yeah, this one is so interesting. I It really didn't start with entities. I was really drawn in by the underworld queen who I'm working with, um, through the what do you want to call it, the journey, I guess, of learning about it. Um, it started with the vampires, like, because I am a recovering people pleaser. So when you have someone that gives a lot, you tend to attract a lot of people that can take a lot, in all different forms. And it was a karmic loop that was repeating. Like, after I left my first marriage, I was like, okay, I'm through that. But then it started showing up in, business partnerships or friendships. And it just kind of like the vampires just kept coming out. And I'm learning now that I don't always have to run away, that, setting boundaries, or calling them out when the vampire kind of can channel through people, interestingly, which I've seen happen. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, like, what was that? Did you just say that? you know? So yeah, it just started a lot with diving more into like vampiric energies, and what the common term, I guess, in the 3D world being like narcissists. But really they're just extreme takers.
So I want to talk about that because we haven't really spoken about vampiric spirits here on the podcast yet. So to you, what is the difference between a vampiric spirit and an entity? And also, how do you recognize when people in our life, because we use that term energy vampires all the time, how do you recognize when people are actually being vampiric themselves?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the entities tend to um latch on to us, and they can cause like a whole bunch of like physical symptoms and ailments. And one thing that sticks out to me is like intrusive thoughts, and just taking people into those dark places. And vampires are very much more creative. um they're a little bit more subtle too, like with their glamour, because they will draw you in with all the glamour, and maybe the love bombing is a common term that's used, and just really like suck you in. And then all of a sudden they're change their way they show up and their behavior, and you're like, well, what is this? Where'd this person go? That I once knew, but they took that mask down, and now it's like a whole different mask. But also, like, vampires in spirit, they they can like they siphon energy. Like, I feel like entities suck, but they like siphon and draw it out, and they just kind of like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it best, but um yeah, I can't think of the term I'm looking for, like how to distinguish more, but they're like linger kind of like outside of you. And not only can they like be attached to you, but they can also work through people and
Yeah.
just make like remarks that can like blow your mind. Who is this person?
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And I feel like sometimes too, entities tend to exacerbate a specific trauma or challenge that we have, whereas vampiric spirits tend to be more manipulative and a little bit more deceitful and crafty. And we think we're, let's say, and they really weaponize those of us who have people-pleasing behaviors.
Yes, manipulative was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, we tend to get really pulled into, let's say, someone's drama or chaotic situation because we want to help them. We want to be of service. We want to make sure that our friend's going to be okay. And then we end up being, on the receiving end of a vampiric attack sometimes.
Yes, and that word chaos was the other word I was trying to look for. See, when I talk about them, it's like
I know.
it's like they like blew my mind, just went blank. It was just crazy. But chaos, that's what they can definitely stir up chaos and drama for sure.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, hold on, let me see how I'm going to say it. By the way, this is going to be, I have a great editor. So anything that like doesn't make sense, he'll make sure it sounds good. I just want to think of what my next question is here. So, okay. So we talk so much in popular culture about energy vampires, and I'm sure everyone listening can think of someone in their own life who feels like they're a bit vampiric when they go and hang out with that person. You feel like you're really getting drained of your energy. So other than that, what are some of the signs of having a vampiric attachment? What does that look like? And what did that look like in your own life?
Yeah, that's how I best probably can describe it. It's my own life. Well, first, if you're attracting them, then you've got your own. Because people pleasing is a manipulative type of behavior where you want to um, make the person happy.
Make people see you in a certain way.
Yeah, and see you a certain way, and you want them to just be happy, and you want everyone to be happy. So the example I like to use is when I used to, as a child, like straighten the shoes at the door without my mom telling me because that makes her happy, So that's one sign is you're attracting them. So you might have those attached to you. But other people's can be attached to you as well. Like having nightmares of people. I've had nightmares where, or just dreams. They don't have to be like that scary, but of people just giving me maybe snotty looks in my dreams, and I wake up and I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
Or for instance, with my ex, like that was a huge vampiric release, and even entities that we shared. He would be showing up in my dreams, for example, like running away with my soul pieces when I was doing all the work around soul retrievals. I've seen that. And then as I got into the entities, he started coming up in my dreams again. And I was like, okay, I need to heal something deeper here. And these people, and another thing that happened was like, one day I just heard exploitation like really loud, and then they kept repeating the word. And it was just like I was in this situation where I felt like I was being exploited. And so I kind of took that as a sign that, yeah, I was. And it was unconscious on the other person's part. So, yes, sometimes when people can manipulate in all different ways, and through fear, like if someone's threatening you with fear, and trying to sway you from doing something that feels really good deep in your soul, but they'll come at you with fear to prevent you from going down that path because their own fear. That's another one. And also the micromanagers who just want to like take up all your time.
Yeah.
Which I felt when I was in that type of dynamic, I felt like I was also doing that energy to others. And I was like, okay, something's happening here because that was attached to me through working with this person. And I was waking up that gives another memory that comes to mind. I was waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to entities of somebody I worked with. And I started speaking to them. I was like, you are demons. Like I put them behind the wall. This was before like you and Kristen, and I was putting them behind the wall. And then you guys validated for me that that was good to do. But like you could feel that person's energy coming in so strong that it would wake you up. And I would go to my computer and see a message. So, um, just like generally feeling people's energy like that out of the blue, like they could have cords siphoning your energy.
Totally. And I find it so interesting because I've been on a bit of a vampiric energy release journey myself over the last year. And with that in mind, have had to let go of a lot of my own people pleasing tendencies because that was very much me for a long time. And now that I have really kind of dropped the veil on that in my own life, now people get mad at me, and
Mhm.
there's conflict,
Yeah.
that you get involved with as a recovering people pleaser. And that is such a whole other adjustment, that
Yeah.
comes in on the other side. So
Oh,
it's definitely a journey. And I want to say for anyone listening who may be thinking, oh my gosh, this is me, like I'm definitely struggling with vampiric attachment. I would love to say that this is something that we can knock out in one session, but
mhm.
it's definitely something that takes multiple sessions, a lot of time to really address not just the vampiric spirits themselves and where they come from, but how you are showing up in your relationships and how you are creating some of those vampiric dynamics yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that you brought in the multiple sessions because that's another thing I like to um disclaimer to clients is that healing happens in layers. Like I started with physical healing, then it was like emotional healing and mental health healing, and now energetic healing. Like there is so many layers that are there to uncover. And that is like why we're here on earth too, is just to like heal our lineage and heal the planet and earth. So I love that you brought that in.
Mhm. So, if someone is looking for vampiric release, is that something you're offering right now in your business?
Oh, yes. I did start. Actually, after the eclipse, I put it out there in my stories and started just to share a little of my personal journey here and there. But after the day after the eclipse, I got on there and I was like, if anybody's interested, like, go ahead and DM me and we can book a session. So I've had two um, come in since then, and both. I didn't hear from the second yet. That was recent, but the first like was seeing shifts in her dream state, and um, even her loved ones could tell her energy was lighter. So I am definitely offering those, and they are at a discount until probably the fall, as I'm learning along with you to hold the space. So I felt called to offer a discount before they go to full price.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
glad to hear that. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about your shamanic work and soul retrieval.
Mhm.
So, to you, what does it mean to be a shamanic healer and how do you practice that in your business?
Yeah. So a shamanic healer, I feel, or practitioner, I like to use that word. I feel just very much knowledge of so many different things And I feel that's why I am still like learning and growing and expanding all of these different healing modalities, because we are truly a bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world, and bringing that healing from spirit to the person who showed up as a client. So um, for me personally, I just like to use everything that comes in, like, like all different healing modalities. Like someone could come for more relationship stuff, and we might see more violet flame healing coming in, and alchemical marriage, and just clearing the karma between two people. But also, like, herbs might come in for heart healing and healing the grief that comes along with relationship stuff. And then soul retrieval. So, someone with a lot of trauma throughout their life, uh, you can come and receive up to 6 soul fragments back to return to you, and I'll journey with the power animal, um, and help you bring those back as well. And with the entity and vampiric stuff, it's kind of like a spirit intrusion. So it's extracting. That's where shamanic extractions come in and help extract all that energy that isn't yours from your body. And so basically, I feel like a shamanic practitioner just has a whole well-rounded like knowledge of healing on all different layers.
Amazing. And when it comes to the soul retrieval piece, I want to dive into that in a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
What are some of the signs that someone needs a soul retrieval, and how can that modality help them in their
Yeah.
journey?
Yeah. So what's popping in my mind now is I've seen a lot of people hold on to grief, like a lot, and um, grief in all different forms. Like you could grieve lost babies through miscarriage, or losing a child early, or loss of a loved one, even like grief of relationship stuff. So grief is like a big sign where soul fragments could be lost in, but also like traumas and not being able to move through the emotions of the trauma and kind of get back past, the experience and live your life. Um, you could have low energy. You could have all different types of physical symptoms, like physical symptoms are staying in your body. Um, and that's what's coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does that process look like? Do you work with the client to discover past lives where there was trauma that happened? Or would you say the soul retrieval is more needed for things that happened in this lifetime? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I mostly did a lot of this lifetime stuff where I'll have the client like come prepared with what they want to heal, because we are our own healers. So I always have what I call throat chakra time, and we talk through the traumas that they feel are still in their energy field. And um, so they share like the emotions that are still coming up, the physical pain, um, and the experience they had. Like it could be from car accidents or other accidents where you become severely injured. And um, so they come with all of their traumas that they want to heal. And then we'll go into a meditative journey. And I've been learning more to like, I kind of like am segregating in sections now, where I like what you and Kristen have been teaching me about, like a meditative journey. And perhaps we'll see past lives come through that, or maybe it's just one that a client just needs to fully relax, and I'll just get them into a hypnotic state, like just really relaxed, and I'll journey on my own to receive the pieces. And then after that comes through, I'll be silenced for some time and just rebalance the chakras. And my spirit team and I just kind of like blow the soul pieces back into the heart chakra and into the third eye chakra.
Wow.
Yeah. And the crown chakra. Yeah.
And I'm sure that leaves your clients feeling so much more connected to themselves.
Yeah, they do. There's been a lot of reports of um just overall good feeling, like feeling, for instance, my second one, I would say, after my second soul retrieval session, I felt like on cloud nine and bliss. So I felt a lot of those feelings, but clients generally overall have an improvement in their mood, in their relationships, um, in, time management, sleep, lots of reports of sleeping better, um, and all that good stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your apothecary business and what kind of products do you sell from the apothecary, and how might that help somebody who's listening?
Yeah. So I have like 8 different teas. So we're going to teas first because I'm a big tea enthusiast. And like I mentioned, the lucid dreams earlier for opening up the third eye in your dream state. But overall, that one's great for sleep. I've had a lot of people like um, just the feedback on Etsy, even saying I slept so good. I had insomnia and now I'm getting some sleep. Then we have Luscious Lungs is popping in now, where that one I created during my own COVID experience. And it was good for healing the lungs and getting it's an expectorant, so getting the phlegm and stuff out of the lungs. And then we have the Venus Love Tea. That was my very first tea. And that one is for like love healing, from grief, even like healing the heart chakra, and also some herbs for the sacral. And yeah, so all my teas have a different theme. And you can read all about that on Etsy. And then the salt baths they're great for, I just love taking salt baths. So those were birthed out of my own healing journey as well. But they're great for boosting your energy. And if you need to like cleanse your energy field, salt is great for that. And the herbs are there it's like an herbal tea bath in a way to support the healing that comes through for those as well. And one specific one that comes to mind is the Shadow Witch Banishing Blend that I made for the retreat that I went on with you. And that one is for like banishing, stuck energy or energy that's maybe you've been psychically attacked, and just banishing that kind of energy. And there's a few sprays out there now, the smudge spray with Palo Santo and sage to cleanse your aura or your room, and the Venus Love Healing for healing the grief again. And it's also an aphrodisiac because it's got jasmine in there. Yeah, so right now I'm birthing a nasal steam and a yoni steam. So those are coming to the apothecary soon. So the nasal is also like a facial steam too. My face felt so soft, but it opens up the airways when you're sick. And the yoni steam for your yoni or vagina. And that is specifically healing sexual trauma and getting all of that energy out there. So you basically steam it with the herbs. It's also great for your menstrual cycle and your moon cycle support. and relieving the symptoms that come along with that. Yeah, I feel like I touched on everything that's in the apothecary.
So many amazing products. I will make sure to leave the links below in the show notes for anyone listening to check them out.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Well, it's obvious that you have so many mystical things going on in your life and in your business. So I would love to know, Julie, what does being a mystic mean to you?
Yeah. So a mystic is a lover of all things extraordinary and woo. And they just can connect with everything beyond the physical realm, like the soul, the spirit, and even that within the plants and the animals and all things energy of things, even objects, and feeling the energy of them. Basically, a bridge between the physical realm and the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm. I love that answer so much. It's
Mhm.
so true.
I
And
thought of you too.
yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And what guidance would you give the audience for living a more mystical life?
Ah, yes. So look for the signs and the synchronicities, ask for them even from spirit, and every time just get excited
Hmm.
and working on that muscle to connect, like start practicing meditating with objects or feeling somebody's energy and noticing how they feel and just starting to build that muscle. But I love looking for the signs and synchronicities. Like that is where like all the fun happens when you start to bring the magic into your life.
I couldn't agree more. And it's one of my favorite things to do. So, for anyone listening, if you've never asked for a sign before, this is your sign to do that. So, pick something that is unique, different, that you wouldn't see every day in your normal reality. Like, for example, if you already see, I don't know, cats everywhere, don't pick cats because it won't feel magical. So, pick something that's unique and state out loud to the universe, I want to see this specific sign, and then be on the lookout for it in the next couple of days.
I love that.
Such a good tip.
Yeah.
So, to wrap us up, Julie, if you want to share anything else that's going on in your business, any offerings that you have right now, and then where people can find you.
Yeah. So in my business, I'm going to be having the shamanic yoga journeys coming up Friday and Monday. So it might be before this is posted, but I do workshops that combine yoga and energy healing. So through meditation, and if it's locally, every once in a while, it'll be through touch. Just depends on the nature of the event. So I do that, and I have one-on-one services out there. I have healing journeys that we can go on. So I have the embodied goddess journey, which is all about empowerment. So a lot of throat chakra and solar plexus healing, and the Venus love healing for healing from relationships or anything that has brought up grief. And then I also offer, can't really go in and purchase it from my website yet, but there's packages that I would just tailor a package to you if you wanted to take just a journey where you come monthly or bi-monthly, and just buying a package of services. And yeah, and the Etsy apothecary is always out there. Um, yeah, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I just started a TikTok, but we'll see how that goes because I just started it, and we'll see, feeling it out, putting the feelers out there. Yeah. Did I
Okay.
forget anything?
And you are located where?
Oh, yes. So I am in Ventnor, New Jersey. That's where I live, just south of Atlantic City. And I've been teaching out of Soul Dream Studio in Ocean City. And every once in a while, I'll pop up in other areas, other studios.
And are your shamanic yoga journeys in person or virtual or both?
So I started to offer whatever workshop I'm doing in person as a virtual workshop as well. So yeah, you can find that virtually as well.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
we'll leave all of the links below so that you can check out Julie's upcoming events.
Yeah. Thank
Yay.
you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Julie. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone loved hearing all of the mystical things that you're working on, and I can't wait for them to hear this episode.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so blessed to be here. Emily, I just have to give you a shout out because you're a very magical and mystical healer. And it just it brought so much magic to my life when I did the healing journeys with you. I mentored with you for a full year or a little more even. And it just really helped me through a lot of tough times of change.
Yeah. And look
Yeah.
at you now. I mean, we're just going up and up and up. So,
Yep. Yep.
well, congratulations on all of your success. And
Thank you.
thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And before I close the portal today, I have to introduce you to this new product that I have been absolutely loving, which is Shilajit resin, an Ayurvedic medicinal supplement that I put in my tea every single morning. You guys know that I don't push products that I don't love. However, this one is changing my life. It contains powerful antioxidants, trace minerals, and fulvic acid to help the body reduce inflammation, improve daily detoxing, increase energy levels, and so much more. Shilajit is specifically known to help with heart health. And for me, I have struggled with heart palpitations and daily anxiety for a lot of my life. And this stuff helps my body feel calmer. It reduces my anxiety. It reduces my daily symptom load of palpitations and also increases my energy throughout the course of the day so that I feel like I have more consistent, maintained energy. I cannot recommend this stuff more, you guys, for heart health and energy. Of course, speak with your doctor before you try any new supplements, but I would love for you to give this one a go by giving you a 10% off code with Emily 10 off at checkout. That's Emily 10 off at checkout. I will leave the link below in the show notes. Give this one a try. I cannot wait for you to feel its effects.